Welcome to Homework Answers. We're going through the textbook Programming, Logic, and Design 8th edition by Joyce Farrell, and in this video we're covering Chapter 1, Exercise 11. This one's a little bit more difficult than the previous 10 or so exercises in this chapter, but it's only asking for the pseudocode or the flowchart. As always, I'll have the code up here so we can see it run. You will have to make a few minor corrections, and that's with every problem I display. I changed just a few things, and they're very simple. And if you have the book, it's easy to correct. Let's go ahead and look at this problem. What we're being asked here is, let's say I bring something to a shop and I want to sell it. I want the shop to sell this object for me. Like, for example, I just brought a pair of skis to a sports shop, and I need them to sell it for me. So we're going to determine what kind of sales price to have, and we're going to also have like I'll get a cut of whatever it sells for, and the shop's going to get a cut too. And so we're trying to figure out what all that is, like, how much I'm going to get paid and how much they're going to get paid. So let's look at the pseudocode. We're going to start, and then we're going to have our declarations. I made a constant for the reduction rate because it's always 30%. Oh yeah, each month it doesn't sell, by the way. It's going to be reduced by 30% because obviously the price isn't working. So it's every month. I've got a variable for the price at which it's going to be sold at, and that's going to change, remember, 30% each month. Then there's my cut, owner's cut, and there's the shop's cut. So two people are going to get paid out there. And then we're going to have a variable for month as well, because it's not going to stay in the shop for more than 3 months. So we need to keep track of how many months, and even if it went on for month after month, we do want to see, what the different price is over like the next month and the next month and the next month. So we're going to have an area for the user to input the sales price, and that's all we need from the user. We're going to use a for loop in order to figure this out. And the reason we're not using a while loop is because, a while loop can go on endlessly. And usually you have like a sentinel value to exit the program. But with this problem, we do know our starting point and our ending point. So it's best to use a for loop. We know that we're going to start at month 1, obviously because that's the first month I brought the product there, is month 1. And then we're not going to let it sit there for more than 3 months. So these 3 things right here, separated by commas, these are the conditions at which the loop will run. If these conditions are not met, especially this one right here, this middle one, the loop's not going to run, and it'll exit and the program will output and end. So we're going to start at month 1. We're going to make sure that months don't exceed, the variable month does not contain anything larger than a 3, so the month needs to be less than or equal to 3. And every time the loop runs, it's going to add 1. That's what this plus plus means, is 1 is going to be added to the variable month. It starts at 1, so the next time it runs, 1 is going to be added, so it'll be 2. The next time, 1 will be added, and it'll be 3. The next time, it'll be 4, and it won't run because that's larger than 3. It's not less than or equal to 3, so it'll exit. It won't run the loop. We've got this little main loop here, and I'll explain what goes into that. Those will be the, what will be executed if the loop is run. And we end the for loop, and then we end the program. So let's look at the main loop, little module here, and see what happens when the loop is run. Well, for one, we're going to figure out by this calculation what my cut is, the owner. So that's sales price, whatever it's being sold by, times 70%. Then we're going to figure out what the shop gets, and they get the sales price minus my cut. So they're left with 30%. We're going to output the sales price, the owner's cut, and the shop's cut each time the loop is run. And all of this will probably end up, yeah, it'll output it each time. And so then we've got, at the very end, we're going to want to say, okay, well, let's say it didn't sell that month. We need to factor in, remember that 30% reduction rate there. So we do sales price minus equals sales, and this will be in parentheses, sales price times the reduction rate. So this is basically saying, this minus equals is pretty much saying sales price equals sales price minus, so you can simplify that and just do minus equals. And that's why we have to put this in parentheses, because we want to figure out that, reduction, the reduced price there. So it would be, 30% of the price, and then we would subtract that from the previous sales price. And then that new number gets stored into this variable, sales price, for the next time the loop runs. So the next time it runs, it's using a new price, a new sales price. And then we do this little return thing here, because then we go back to the, then we exit that and we go into end for and end. So this is just kind of like, imagine a little magnifying glass into this. So I put this down here so you can see all that's contained in this. So let's look at the code up here. Everything looks about good. Looks pretty good right here. But I want to mention too, I output these headers here, and I separate it. I do spaces here because it just falls nicely when you put some space between these headers here. But I output these headers before I go into the for loop. So we've got these to show you where the sales price is, where the owner's cut is, and shop's cut, and all the numbers will fall beneath. This is the $sign. Let's see, set precision to 2 and fixed, so we have 2 decimal places. If you don't have fixed, you'll just have 2 numbers. So we need set precision to 2 and fixed for 2 decimal places. You can't use that unless you have this second include here, IOMANIP. So remember that. And that looks about right. Let's go ahead and run it and watch it work. I think we were trying to sell them for 60, sadly. And so there we go. First month it would be 42 that I would get. The shop would get 18. Second month I would get 29.40. They would get 12.60. And the third month I would get 20.58, and they would get 8.82. And you can also see how each month the price is reduced. First it was 60, then it was 42. Now, last month it's 29.40. So all that looks pretty good, and I think that's about it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.